Policemen fall ill due to suspected food poisoning. Reporters understand that at least 10 policemen have to seek medical attention as a result of suspected food poisoning on Thursday. According to information received by reporters, the lawmen who were part of a Level 2 tactical training course fell ill after consuming the provided lunches. Some reported they experienced vomiting and diarrhea symptoms and were rushed to a medical hospital. At least one officer was admitted due to the severity of his condition. 7 others are reportedly still receiving treatment, while 3 were treated and released. JCAA, American Airlines, launched investigation into plane mishap at Norman Manley International Airport. The Jamaica Civil Aviation Authority and American Airlines have launched an investigation into what led to an airplane veering off the runway when it landed at the Norman Manley International Airport in Kingston Thursday night. American Airlines Flight 850 from Miami to Kingston briefly exited the runway as it landed. It is presumed that the incident occurred due to increased and heavy rainfall in the parish. There have been no reports of injuries so far. A preliminary report following inspection of the aircraft and the landing strip on Friday morning revealed that damage was done to the engine and engine fan blades, hydraulic hoses, landing gear and tires of the plane. There was also some damage to the edge lights and scorching of the rear area adjacent to the runway, the report stated. The runway excursion is considered a serious incident based on the fact that the airplane departed the runway at some stage of the runway, which caused significant damage to the aircraft and minor damage to the airstrip lighting, said Transport Minister Darrell Valls. The Jamaica Civil Aviation has launched an investigation into this matter, as well as the American Airlines. My understanding is that both teams have visited the site, and I will get a further update as things unfold. I am happy to know there are no injuries reported up to this point, and for that we give thanks, he added. According to the report, inspectors are still collecting information and further investigations into the incident will be carried out. Opposition leader threatens legal action against MP Harold Clark. Opposition leader Mark Golding has threatened to take legal action against Harold Clark, Deputy Speaker of the House of Representatives, for comments he allegedly made about Golding's relationship with his wife Sandra. The comments were reportedly made in a WhatsApp group of approximately 300 contacts. In a letter addressed to Clark on Friday, Golding, through his attorneys, demanded an apology, highlighting that the comments made by Clark could suggest the opposition leader committed a criminal offense. Golding's attorneys say Clark's statements have disparaged Golding's character and reputation and has brought him into public scandal and contempt. Your statements have disparaged Mr. Golding in his character and reputation as leader of the opposition, a former minister in the government of Jamaica, an attorney at law, investment banker, and as a businessman, and have severely injured and damaged him in his credit and business, and have brought him into public scandal and contempt, thereby causing considerable distress and embarrassment to him, the letter stated. As such, Golding attorneys have requested that Clark provide a full and unreserved written apology to Golding in a newspaper of island-wide circulation in Jamaica, in form and substance, and with pertinent acceptance of the People's National Party president. The letter also indicated that Clark, the Member of Parliament for St. James Central, must also agree to enter into discussion with Golding's attorneys as to the terms of a settlement of the claim against him for damages of defamation. Failure to follow through on the demands outlined in the letter will result in the matter possibly being brought before the court. St. Mary man charged with trapping murder of 3-year-old boy. The St. Mary man accused of trapping a 3-year-old boy to death and injuring several of his relatives during an incident last month has been charged with murder. He is 33-year-old Devon Williams, a laborer of Page District in the parish and West Springfield in the United States. Williams was also being charged with 3 counts of wounding with intent and 2 counts of unlawful wounding, the police said on Friday. The deceased has been identified as Asher Campbell of Frontier District, also in St. Mary. The incident happened on Page Street on May 29. Reports from the Portmore police are that between 3:30 p.m. and 5 p.m., Williams, armed with a knife and a piece of iron pipe, inflicted several wounds to Asher and 5 other persons. They were assisted to hospital, where Asher was pronounced dead and the others were treated and released. Williams, who was earlier accosted by residents and taken to hospital, was handed over to the police. He was charged on Thursday after he was pointed out on an identification parade. Williams is scheduled to appear in the St. Mary Parish Court on June 13. Former PNP parliamentarian Dwayne Valls fined $250,000 for Integrity Commission Act breach. Former People's National Party parliamentarian Dwayne Valls was fined $250,000 for breaches of the Integrity Commissions Act. Mr. Valls, who served as Member of Parliament for Westmoreland Central, pleaded guilty to breaches in the Kingston and St. Andrew Parish Court in April. The plea came days after he insists that he had adhered to the requirements of the Act. After the judge imposed the fine, it was paid by Mr. Valls. The Commission had stated that Mr. Valls had failed to file statutory declaration for 2019. The Commission Director of Investigation said Mr. Valls was given an opportunity to discharge liability by paying a fixed penalty and submitting the requested information. The former MP submitted the requested information but did not pay the fixed penalty of $250,000 to Tax Administration Jamaica. Mr. Valls pleaded guilty to the offense of failing without reasonable cause to provide the information relating to his statutory declarations by way of notice, date November 3, 2020, and subsequent extension date given to do so. The required information was in relation to company known as Estella Global Services. Recommendation made to remove telecommunication restrictions for local rideshare app operators who comply with Jamaica's laws. A recommendation has been made for the removal of telecommunication restrictions for local rideshare app operators who are compliant with Jamaica's laws. In addition, it's been recommended that international ride-hailing operators submit to existing requirements for the provision of public passenger services. So far, Uber is the only international app service provider that has been in discussion with the Transport Authority. The matter comes in wake of concern by the police about how some rideshare apps operate and their links to criminal activity. In response, Transport Minister Darrell Valls recommended an immediate one-year ban and also asked telecom providers Flow and Digicel to restrict access to the rideshare platforms. Several rideshare operators made contact with the Transport Authority and the parties met to discuss the issues. A technical working group with representatives from the Ministry, the Authority and the Jamaica Constabulary Force met to review the operators' concerns and to devise a strategy to ensure the safety of passengers and the continuation of operations for those entities willing to comply with the local regime. These recommendations include removing any restriction in relation to local ride-hailing operators that only engage drivers and use vehicles which are compliant with the requirements of the Transport Authority for operating a public passenger service. In this respect, the Transport Authority will submit to the Minister its recommendation regarding those ride-hailing entities that are compliant. Another is for increased collaboration between the Transport Authority and the JCF to assist in the determination of those ride-hailing entities that meet the security standards for the provision of such services. The other is requiring international ride-hailing operators to submit to existing requirements for the provision of public passenger services. Among the requirements for those operators to establish a local presence in Jamaica and to engage the Transport Authority to facilitate the vetting of potential drivers for fit and proper purposes and vehicles for sustainability to be included in its fleet, and where necessary, to impose those requirements by the promulgation of legislation to ensure compliance. At present, Uber remains the only foreign-based provider to have engaged in discussion with the government to ensure that its operation in all its facets comply with local requirements. Mr. Valls noted that Uber is fully aware and understands the government's concern and is willing to work with the government to operate within the recommended regulatory regime of Jamaica. The Transport Authority is in receipt of a proposal from Uber coming out of a series of meetings held prior to the imposition of the ban regarding legal and regulatory concerns with its ride-hailing operations. Please remember to subscribe, like, share, and click the notification bell for daily updates.